loud and get going. Hi, everybody. My name is Doug Brunke. I'm the founder and CEO of Global Chamber. We have actually I don't see anybody from the Denver chapter yet, so we it is, I'm sure busy. We had one of the fun meeting yesterday. It was our Global Chamber Accra, Ghana chapter, and only 33 people signed up, and there were about maybe 25, 30 people at the start, and then it's just started growing, and it grew to 67 people on a topic of leadership. And we were kind of talking about how busy all of us are these days. This was a topic of largely how not to get stressed. And overstressed in your work, and that's certainly one of the challenges. We have a good topic today that shouldn't stress us out, and that is, what are some of the opportunities between South Korea and maybe more holistically the rest of the world, but certainly the US, and we've kind of focused in on the Denver chapter, along with some of the other activities that we have in the chapters in Salt Lake City and in Billings, Montana. So we kind of took it as a Rockies, Intermountain West. I'm not sure. I guess the Billings would be still the Rockies, so kind of there, and Seoul. And we have Mijong Hibbets, who is our Global Chamber Baltimore, Washington, D.C. executive director here, who is very deeply connected in South Korea, who will be speaking today. I don't see Dr. Yun, who's our Global Chamber Seoul chapter head, but he's traveling in the U.S., in Georgia, in Atlanta tonight, and he's going to try to break away and be here. Again, we're talking about busyness, right? We're all traveling, we're all somewhere, we're all doing some good work, and so thank you all for being here. Let's start with Sherry Daly at the University of Utah, and there's actually two U of U leaders here today. Both Sherry and Troy D'Ambrosio are involved with all sorts of good things global. And Sherry, why don't you kick us off? One of the most fun experiences I've had with Global Chamber was, in the early days at least, Dr. David Pershing, who one day when I was sitting in his office there as he was starting his tenureship at the U, said, "Gee, Global Chamber, I'm not even sure what's going on globally with the University of Utah. We probably need to set up some sort of an office." And so you were designated in those days as someone who could be able to kind of not necessarily herd the cats, but at least understand what some of the cats were doing. And I don't remember exactly the right timing that happened with the campus in Seoul, or outside of Seoul, but it was right around that time. It certainly was in process. You've been involved since those days. You took a little bit of a back seat for a little while, and now you're leading a lot of the efforts by the U. Congratulations on the success and the progress and all the things that you're doing. Could you give us a little bit of an update on what the U's involved, what you're seeing with some of the opportunities, and anything else you'd like to share tonight?
Sure. I'll focus on Korea, as that seems to be the topic at hand. And as far as the timing, we're actually celebrating our 10-year anniversary in a few weeks. We've got a huge gala event that's happening at the campus and in the surrounding area, in the Incheon area. So we are very proud. The campus has continued to grow. In fact, our enrollment numbers, I think, are the best of the 4 campuses in the Incheon Global Campus. So we continue to grow. It's 9 undergraduate majors. We've just introduced a professional communication master's. So we are growing. What's been really fun for me in working with the campus is that we have increasingly engaged our Salt Lake students in opportunities for a semester or a year-long study at the campus. So they're getting a University of Utah educational experience, but having that opportunity to get out of the box and go spend a semester or a year in Korea. Or we also have some of the business students who will go over for a summer. So it's all good things. This 10-year anniversary that's coming up at the end of September actually will have a pretty significant Utah delegation in attendance. I believe the governor will be there and several legislators. So I think there's a lot to celebrate there.
What is the date for that?
The dates are the gala is the 28th, which is Saturday. So backing up from that, I believe it's the 25th through the 28th of September.
Okay. Is this a University of Utah celebration, or is it all for the school?
Nope.
Going?
It's just ours. Yeah.
Fantastic. So
we actually opened with Ghent. We were the last two campuses of the 4. So we opened with Ghent September 1st of 2014. I did the opening ceremony, so it is burned forever in my memories. But yes, so each of the campuses has celebrated their anniversaries separately.
Right.
From what I've heard, I suspect ours is probably one of the bigger, more well-attended celebrations. So we're pretty excited about it.
Fantastic. I'll introduce you to our, if I haven't already, to a Global Chamber Seoul, who's actually working for the city of Incheon as well. And so he's been to the campus many times and knows certainly the leaders that are there. And so he'll already be coming to that. So we'll make sure that that's the case.
Great.
What else is going on with that? It sounds like will you be over there and the president as well?
Yes. Yep. It's yes.
Okay.
Hey, Sherry, I just might want to mention some of the discussions we've had about the Master's of Business Creation degree.
Yes, absolutely.
Expanding. Do you want me to cover that, or would you?
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great.
So Doug and everybody on the call, this is Troy D'Ambrosio. I'm Vice President of Innovation for the campus for President Randall now, but run the Lausanne Entrepreneur Institute. And a few years ago, 6 years ago, we started a really innovative degree program for entrepreneurs called the Master of Business Creation. And it really is entrepreneurs and helping them create the fundamental components of their business while getting a fully accredited master's degree from the University of Utah. We've been running it for 6 years online and in resident in the US. And we've decided to expand that internationally. We just actually, Doug, I'll follow up with you. We just launched our first cohort in Africa. 15 of the 20 companies we have in the program are from Ghana, and we're using and partnering with our relationship with Ensign College in Ghana to help do that. But we're looking to expand that, and one of the places we'll be looking at next to expand our master's program will be in Asia through our Korea campus in Incheon, and but it'll be pan-Asian because it's online. We take in Africa, we have individuals from founders from 4 countries, and we're just looking at the order of prioritization where we go with the Asia campus. But we look forward to working with you, and as we expand this, we will have a Africa cohort, a Europe cohort, cohort headquartered out of Korea, and then an India cohort. So we'll have that expanding over the next 3 to 5 years.
Fantastic! Congratulations on that. What does that look like? How long is it, and what are they entrepreneurs post degree that usually are involved in this, like an executive education type of program? Uh-oh. Troy, are you there? Let's see. Oh, you're muted somehow.
Ron, I just kind of lost you there. It kind of froze up for a minute. So,
yeah.
So keep you abreast of that as we grow, Doug. Maybe I'll set up a time with you separately and go through that with you if you'd be up for that, Doug.
Okay, that sounds good. Well, let's get in touch. I'd like to learn more and get the word out, and also find ways to help.
Yeah, and we'd love to connect them with the chamber in those areas so that they've got some other business relationships to network with.
Fantastic. Sherry, is there anything that we can do to help, or anything else that you'd like to share?
I think the other factor in Korea too is that we've got the Center for Medical Innovation over there, which has a lot of healthcare connections with some of the hospitals, and they're certainly looking at expanding those relationships. So I think that would also be another conversation that would be worth having.
Okay. Very good. Wait, is that on the campus there, or is it associated with some other facility?
It's associated with the University of Utah. It's mirrored with our Center for Medical Innovation here.
Okay. Is it on the ground in either Incheon or in Seoul?
Yes.
Okay. On the campus there in Incheon or somewhere else?
I mean, we have a lot of our relationships are off campus, you know, for example, with certain hospitals that we have collaborations with. So
Okay.
there's a lot of outreach. We don't, for example, we don't have lab facilities at the Incheon campus. So it's more fostering innovative research relationships in Korea and leveraging the expertise we have at the University of Utah. So
Got it. Sounds good. Does anybody have any questions either for Troy or for Sherry?
Cheryl, hi, this is Mi Jong. I just wanted to mention that I was there at Incheon IFES, where the campus is located, and it's a great location, and very great location for global education. So hopefully, the more enrollment and the better success there. And then the one date, did I hear correctly? You mentioned September 14th for some sort of event.
it's actually the end of September. It's the 26th through the 28th, or maybe even the 25th. I think Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. So there's a lot of events that are focused around campus. It's also helping introduce, especially the people who are coming from the United States, to elements of Korean culture. You know, they'll have an opportunity to make kimchi and do a tea ceremony. And so there's a lot of activities to introduce our US participants to Korea. Plus we're unveiling a big donor wall on Friday. We've got a carnival. So there's several days of events, knowing that people are coming from the United States to participate. And so wanting to give people a lot of things to do while they're there. So.
Yeah. I just wanted to mention that 14th, then the Chuseok, the largest holidays of Korea, is going to start. And then,
we wouldn't do it over Chuseok.
Right. So it'll be 14, 15, I think up until 18 is the big holidays in Korea. And a lot of businesses, close, and, people visit families, all of the different provinces and things like that. So,
yeah. Well, what's interesting is apparently there's a Korean food fair or festival that takes over the Convencia and has booked up all of the hotel rooms in Songdo and the Incheon areas. So we are really struggling to make sure that all of our international guests coming in have hotel rooms. So
wonderful. All right, thank you.
That sounds good. That reminds me, back in the early days, Mijong, like around 1988, 89, probably, I stayed at one of the worst hotels I've ever stayed at in Incheon. My salesperson at DuPont Korea, I asked if he could, I was just flying in and leaving the next morning. And he said, "Oh, that's probably not a good idea. There's not very many good hotels near the airport." So that was a long time ago. And he was right. It was very gruesome. So Seoul has changed a lot since 1989, that's for sure. Leilani, you are involved with localization, and I'm wondering, do you already work? You've been around and you're an expert globally, and there you are in Salt Lake City. Are you working with the university already, or some things you're working there?
We do some work with the university, some of the medical study offices, the patient relations for interpretation, whatnot. So we have done some work directly with the University of Utah. Okay. But we did do a governor trade mission about 4 years ago and visited South Korea. So it sounds amazing. So congratulations.
Continued progress. Yes, absolutely. Congratulations. We know Christina is involved with the University of Utah because she's teaching there. Thank you for joining, Christina. How are you? Oh, you're on mute.
I'm happy to be here and see some other people from my neck of the woods and across the world at the same time again. I've heard about a lot of the programs that we have at the University of Utah there, and they sound great. The program that I was involved with Study Abroad is no longer in session, so I may reach out to you, Troy, and Sherry, and find out some more details of yours. And I'd love to talk to the rest of you local people, because basically my business, apart from being a professor in the business school, is teaching cross-culture communication strategy for international business. And I've just started a workshop with the London Intercultural Center, and I have a couple of other things coming up that take me beyond Salt Lake City. So I want to see what people are doing locally here, because I want to show people how to, not lose $1 million in 30 seconds, basically. So that's who I am. And go Utes tomorrow, first game of the season.
Is it there at Rice Eccles?
Yep, first home game. Yep, but it's kind of interesting when we're in our new division, and it's a pregame, so we're playing Southern Utah University. So it's just, they better win. That's all I can say.
Okay. Well, we've got someone in Southern Utah, Utah Tech. Hey, Shadman, how are you? Are you guys doing some work in Korea as well?
Hi, everyone. Yes, we have quite a few faculty members from Korea. We have a few students, I mean, not that many, and now we are starting to focus more on increasing the numbers of students from there, and then study abroad programs to Korea.
What Shadman has been able to do there at the school is incredible, and the progress you've made throughout the life of Global Chamber, where bringing international programming to Southern Utah is just extraordinary. Congratulations on that. You've been integrated into the global network, not just in Utah, but globally. So congratulations on that. It's fun to watch what you're doing and to support you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's interesting. It's exciting. Sometimes it's way more fun when you're in a smaller university, because you're the big fish in a small university, and you end up doing so many things which have never happened before. And we almost had a 300% growth in the last 5 years with new international students coming in. So things are on a very, very good track.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's continue the conversation and go east and to Korea as well. Brian Han has been involved with the Korea Innovation Center, and now he's doing economic development in the Washington, D.C. area, very deeply connected to South Korea and the U.S., and so is aware of a lot of activities in between. And he's working with Meejoong Hibbets of Global Chamber, Baltimore, Washington. Meejoong, I'll turn it over to you and to Brian. How would you like to share the information that you guys have?
Oh, I will let Brian, speak what he has in mind, for today's gathering, and then I will follow up on that. But I prepare a little bit of a few slides, but let's hear from Brian first. But I just wanted to make sure, since KIC time, Brian has been a great supporter of Global Chamber, but more so I'm involved in South Korea business, consulting, and he was a really great supporter of that work as well. Now he's in charge of actually international trade and investment at Fairfax County Economic Development Authority. So he handles not just Korea, but India, Israel, all of the international portfolios of Fairfax County. So, Brian.
Yes, thank you, Meejoong, for the kind introduction. You actually cover my intro part, so and it's good to see you, Doug, again. Thanks for inviting me, and thanks to all the members of Global Chamber having me today. So yeah, my name is Brian Han. I'm a Director of International Business and Investment at Fairfax County Economic Development Authority, and I am overseeing the international department. We're heavily focused in international market, including Korea, Japan, Taiwan, Australia, UK, Germany, Israel, India, and we're trying to expand our international market. In the county, we have over 400 international companies, their corporate headquarters and branches. So today I was told from Ijong to talk about the opportunities in Korea, but I'm no longer representing Korean government or government agencies, so I don't have I don't have the tangible like events or resources at this time. But just want to share my background a little bit. I have been working for Korea International Trade Association, which is one of the largest economic entities in Korea, representing 73,000 companies. So I worked for the KIRA for about 10 years, and helping Korean companies to penetrate the US market. After that, I moved to Korean Trade Investment Promotion Agency, also known as KOTRA. And my role was to help the US company to penetrate to Korean market. So I was officer, the foreign direct investment officer for 3 years. And then I moved on to Korea Innovation Center. That's when I met Doug and Mijong. So Korea Innovation Center is under Ministry of Science, Korean government, and our main role is to help Korean startups penetrating to US market. So we do have the Fairfax County, going back to Fairfax County EDA, where I'm working right now. We do have an office in Seoul. And our representative in Seoul, they help the FCEDA here to connect with a lot of Korean business people's association and government agencies. And each manager from our headquarters here in Fairfax, we take a trip at least twice a year to go to our targeted market and have a meeting with our potential prospects. So for me, I go to Korea twice a year, planning to go to Japan and Thailand also. And then I meet with the potential prospect in Korea, and also participate in a lot of international conference and events. Last time I participated AI, one of the largest AI conference at COEX, actually with Mijong, and it was really great event. And then there were a lot of leads, and then follow was needed. So if you have any questions, regarding connecting with agencies or nonprofit associations, or province government, city government, please let me know. I'm more than happy to help. And Sherry is actually from Utah, University of Utah. In our county, we have a George Mason University, and as you know, we have a Korea campus right next to your university. And then just want to highlight Mason Korea also had a 10-year anniversary a couple weeks ago. So it was a great event, I heard. And then I hope it's going to be another great event for your 10th anniversary as well. Thank you. Any questions?
Any questions for Brian? Yep. Brian, have you been primarily working on the technology side, or maybe a better question would be in terms of some of the markets and business opportunities that you see going forward, let's say in 2025, where are the hottest areas to consider in terms of opportunity?
Yeah. Yes, Doug, thank you for the questions. So Fairfax County's key industries are aerospace, cybersecurity, quantum technologies, AI, and other emerging technologies. So you probably know we have a lot of cyber companies, not only local, but from overseas, Korea and Israel and Germany. We have a lot of defense companies from overseas, and also quantum and then aerospace is another key sector here in Fairfax County, which exactly align with key industries in Korea, this time. Actually, we're having one of the big quantum related event next month, September 10 to 9 to 11 here in Tyson's Corner. And we're having delegations from over 15 countries. So quantum is another key and hot industries here in Fairfax County.
Sounds good. What is your reaction to the Masters of Entrepreneurship that Troy D'Ambrosio mentioned? Does that align with some of the things that are on the ground in South Korea as a supplemental positive for for entrepreneurs there? The entrepreneur community really well in South Korea. How do programs like that stack up?
Well, it's still ongoing things in Korea. Korean government, the central government, as well as the province and city government, still putting a lot of effort and money to help these entrepreneurs and startups, and they really push hard for these entrepreneurs and Korean startups to go outside of Korea, and they're one of the most preferred places, United States. And we see a trend that a lot of startup company, Korean companies tends to penetrate to West Coast, obviously the Silicon Valley, but we see a lot of changes shifting from west to the east now. Company likes to work with the federal government or government agencies. So I see a lot of entrepreneurs and Korean startups are now moving to and targeting the East Coast. And then when it comes to the government procurement, they're also highly consider this Northern Virginia areas these days.
Interesting. Thanks.
May I ask a question, Doug?
Yes, please go ahead.
Sorry, I couldn't find the hand raising thing, but I was just wondering, Brian, when you were talking about the opportunities in Korea, and now you're talking about how much it's growing, what are some of the successes that you've had in terms of overcoming obstacles or preconceptions that people have had in terms of doing business in Korea?
Well, I mean, I don't really have some success story on top of my head right now, because I'm sorry, but I was told just to talk about some opportunities in terms of industries today. So I don't really have a success stories that
So
I want to share.
instead, tell me about the advantages, more of the advantages then specifically that you give for your initial pitch to a business looking at Korea.
Well, I'll say I always say to people from United States, because I work in the United States, I always tell them you have to utilize Korea as a hub for your business, doing business for Asia. You can't, I mean, no offense to China, but China has high political risk, and Japan also. No offense, but a lot of natural disasters happening. So I always tell U.S. partners, U.S. business people to use Korea as a hub for your Asian business. So that's the key that I like to share with all of you guys.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mijong, what would you like to add, please?
No, I was just thinking about Christina's just questions, obstacles and things like that for American businesses who are looking to do business in Korea, what that might be. I think that there are many other things, Christina, but that could be, sometimes it could be the universal, but more so in Korean business arena. I would say it would be really business to business trust building. But how do you build that the trust, right? And then a lot of things coming with really this relationship, right? And then the meeting. And I used to work for a large private company that had an Asia client, a big conglomerate, the clients and things like that. My schedule was really evolving around the big major holidays in Korea. So that's why I mentioned like a Chuseok and like a New Year's and things like that. My job was really building the relationship with this client. And those times, big holidays, it's not just for family or friend, but even in business relationship, I would go there and then meet the CEO, and then we actually share the meal and ask about their kids and then how they're doing in college and things like that. I've done that many years. Those type of a trust building, it actually translates somehow in remaining or maintaining your client as a long-term client or something like that. It's a hard thing, very to do as a non-Korean to understand, but I think there might be a similar culture as well, in another areas as well. It's a very personal relationship, even though it is a business. In the US, might be just the great contract, the base or technological superiority or some other things can actually make the deal that happen. But for me, I think those type of really relationship, can I really trust them, and that really plays a big part in Korea. So
well, thank you. I'd love to talk to you more one-on-one, if I may. I'm doing research for my next book, and this is exactly the sort of thing I'm looking for. So I'm going to reach out to you in the chat, and maybe we can connect, one-on-one. Thank you.
absolutely. Yeah, thank you.
The contrast, because I lived in Japan and speak Japanese and traveled to Korea maybe 30 plus times. My own experience with the Korean culture has been, it's much relative to Japan. There's a lot of similarities, but the Koreans, I would felt more emotional to me and would be very expressive, especially when they were disappointed. And so we would have it felt like heated conversations, when in Japan that almost never happens. Even some of the worst things that ever happened was very calm on the surface, but in Korea it tended to be a little bit exciting sometimes, and then very quickly it would turn like, let's go karaoke. And everybody would be happy. So for an American experiencing that, it was a little bit of a shock, or it took some time to not get too reactive to what seemed to be an emotional reaction that doesn't ever happen in Japan. Mi-jung, you've probably seen that, especially when you react or you work with Japanese, it must seem very quiet and lacking emotion. It might be, for you, it might be hard to see emotion, relatively speaking, to Korea. You're experienced in it, so you know how it all works. So thank you for sharing that. Any additional questions for Mi-jung? And any additional comments or questions? I'll just open up the floor. Mi-jung is, as she noted, really an expert on dealing between the US and Korea, and because of her working with not just Americans, but with a variety of different cultures, is a great contact for you to have, not just because she's a global chamber, but because of her expertise in cross-border activities. Any other questions or comments?
Doug, do we have a time for me to make a presentation by a few slides?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Or do you have some things that you want to present?
Yeah, I
Oh, I'm
was
sorry.
Yeah, no. I was thinking about the today's topic, like opportunity that involving the South Korea. Even though I'm just the chapter leading with the Baltimore and Washington area, but regardless of the which metro, I think we're thinking about the opportunities in South Korea, but actually it's tremendous actually opportunities actually has been created and then being created in the United States within our country as well. But that I mean is that I'm not sure anybody here is really following the development, the investment, Korean investment in the United States. I lived in the United States for, nearly 27, 28 years, but in this business world, never seen this scale of Korean investment in the United States, right? That creates a tremendous economical and technological opportunities for both the country. It's a large investment, and you might want to know, which part of the United States this type of investment is actually concentrated on, and then what sectors and then what areas. That's where Korea has a lot of opportunities. They see a lot of opportunity. Also, they see it as for future. So they are pushing it even from Korea side, but then also looking for those opportunities big time in the United States, right? So I think this trade or exchange is always both ways. And then the opportunities are not just the geographical locations within the South Korea, but it's actually creating tremendous opportunity within the United States. That's what I wanted to talk about today.
What I would suggest is this: is that given the large opportunity, I would suggest we schedule that for something in September, and maybe with you and Dr. Yun and some others, so that we have a larger audience to be able to share it to. Would you be okay for maybe you and I can work together to find another date for that?
Oh yeah, sure. It'll be actually fascinating opportunities, even for the educators or in the cultural institute or job creations. And I mean, they are actually bringing this investment in, but whole scenery is actually changing in Georgia. Road is going to be taken after South Korean companies' investors' name. There will be Hyundai Road. There will be AI in Oregon area. The reactor. I mean, it is never seen this much of. I think that it's all fueled by President Biden's IRA as well as the CHIPS Act that creates tremendous opportunities for Korea, and then they know that, and they're coming in and seize those opportunities in Texas as well, as you know, that Arizona, right? So I think we might want to keep following up those developments.
And I think the number is something like $100 billion investment in Korea in the semiconductor industry. It's an amazing, the semiconductors is the new oil in terms of strategic economic development. What we're seeing in Arizona with both Intel and TSMC, what South Korea is doing in semiconductors there, and here Samsung in Texas is amazing. I'll follow up with you after the meeting, and let's reschedule that for September. That would be awesome. Maybe we could time it with the 10-year anniversary, the last week of September of University of Utah. Does anybody else have anything before we close the room? And hearing none, Sherry, thank you for kicking us off today, and some great news, great progress. 10 years, unbelievable. It's amazing that
I know it's gone fast, hasn't it?
It's frightening, actually. And Brian and Mijong, thank you for sharing today. Thank you, Christina. Shadman, thank you. Terry, thanks for being here. And Charles Taylor is a semiconductor expert and longtime career there as well. Thank you for both of you joining. Have a great rest of your evening. And for Utah, the big event coming up before the one in Seoul is next week. And that is, of course, the annual Greek Festival, the second largest Greek festival in the United States, next week. Normally, the Brunkies are there, and this year, because of just some logistics, we're not able to attend, but definitely in 2025. Thanks, everybody, for joining, and see you next time.
Thanks, Peter. Bye.